Thanks for taking the time out of your busy day to join us as we look into using data intelligence to drive efficiency in your business. As we know, many companies have got really good at selling technology, and the tech stacks in use across each organization is growing year on year. The next hype cycle is here, looking at AI, and they're showing no signs of slowing down. So what can companies do to ensure they're getting the best value from their tech tooling? We're joined today by Thomas, the founder and CEO of Temporall. Thomas, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hey folks, I'm Thomas Davies. I'm the founder and CEO of Temporall. I've been in the enterprise tech space for 25 years, feels like longer. I spent 10 years at Google Cloud in a variety of leadership roles there. And look, we're on a mission to help companies of all shapes and sizes measure and optimize the value of their digital workplace tools. And I'm thrilled to be here this afternoon to talk about kind of how people can do that, and to give some examples of sort of like the real sort of business outcomes that the organizations have achieved.
Brilliant. Thanks, Thomas. We're looking forward to hearing your thoughts a little bit more later on. We're also joined by Jenny. Jenny's the head of Google Workspace at CTS. Jenny, do you want to say a few words?
Yeah, sure. Thanks for that. Hi, everybody. Yes, I've been running the workspace practice at CTS for the last 3 years. So that's everything that we do and sell for our customers with Workspace, all the exciting features around that, of course. I've been 11 years in the cloud services industry, very focused and passionate on customer service, delivery, and the operations around that. So that's my real focus there. And a quick bit about CTS. It was founded 15 years ago. I built on a workspace customer base. We've managed over 500 seats, and many of those are household names. So I'm delighted to be here. Thank you.
Thanks, Jenny. So I'm Jonathan. I'm the lead customer success manager at CTS, and my main role is to just ensure companies get value out of Google and out of CTS initially. And a lot of conversations we've been having around data analytics have led us down this path of working with Temporall. So the nice partnership that we've got within CTS and Temporall is something that we're looking to explore further today. Dive right in and go straight to Thomas. So Thomas, tell us just a little bit about your story, a bit of background. Why did you create Temporall, and what problems does it go on to solve?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably no surprise that it's quite personal. As I said, I've been in the industry for a fair amount of time. Look, and I was part of Google Cloud. I was part of what was called Google Apps, then G Suite, and then Workspace. And look, the companies like Google, like Microsoft, at Slack and Zoom and WebEx they've got very good at selling these technologies, right? They've been doing so incredibly successfully for over 20 years. But these tools have got like a couple of things in common. Right? The first one is that they're no longer tools, right? They're so pervasive that they are modern day operating systems. That is how billions of people basically get work done every day. We are all now familiar with that kind of story. But we're really good at selling them, and I can say this first person because I was responsible for this as well. We were good at selling them, but we were less good at helping companies realize the value. And what I mean by that is helping companies understand the business outcomes that they were realizing from the investments that they were making. And again, this has been going on for a couple of decades. And the result of that is at an industrial level, because there are billions and billions of dollars of unrealized value that are sat locked in enterprise data, in these enterprise tools that have been bought. And look, we're leading the charge, right? Because what we set out to do is to help customers unlock that value by using better analytics and better insights. And we do that by helping people pinpoint where and how to optimize their digital workplace tools, including Google Workspace. And there are 3 things that people kind of do, right? This is where we are in the world. They want to cut cost, they want to drive efficiencies, and they want to kind of boost productivity. And we're on this mission to take these billions of rows of data, transform that into actionable insights. We build the platform, and we have kind of partners like CTS that we're kind of thrilled to be partnering with to kind of help our customers on that journey. So look, that's the why we're here. So yeah, it's all about value realization.
Fantastic. Hey, Thomas just alluded there to the partnership with CTS. So, Jenny, tell us a little bit more about this. CTS have recently merged with Apps Broker. We're very excited about that. We're now the largest premier Google Cloud-only digital consultancy in Europe. But a little bit more about the why then. Why have we partnered with Temporall?
Yeah, so this session comes at a very exciting time for us, for sure. Just a quick bit around the merger with Apps Broker. So what that does is brings together over almost 450 Google experts into one united organization. And the real view as we kind of launch into the next 6 months and come together is one Google. And I think that's what's exciting about our partnership with Temporall and getting that data insights, is because it just takes us from the so what level of data into something really interesting. I know a number of your customers, Jonathan, and your team are really excited about that. And yeah, specifically about Temporall, the reason I'm excited is because of some of the things that Thomas has just mentioned. A true picture is what our customers are asking for. Just that one good looking in one lens to one place to see how, who, what, where, when, getting that insight. And it's joined, and the organizations can get that joined up reporting using the data that's available through the platform. So yeah, single version of the truth. And then bits around being able to measure as well. So taking the data and using it to measure how an organization's digital workplace is now and where they want it to be in the future, because that's how we're going to help our customers remain competitive in what they're doing and how they're using their collaboration tools. And I think the other one there around cost efficiencies, our customers want to do more with what they've got, and in fact want to do more with less. So being able to have a conversation around cost optimization in the tooling that they've got, but also cost avoidance as well. So not kind of increasing, as organizations felt during the pandemic era. Things are settled. This is a way of working. And we want to make sure customers have insight into kind of decision making using the data that Temporall can bring.
Fantastic. Sounds good. So over to you then, Thomas. Just we've looked at the sort of why CTS have partnered with Temporall, a little bit around your background and things, but come on, let's get into the nitty-gritty bit. What is Temporall and what does the platform actually do?
Okay, good question. We'll go all the way back up, 60,000 foot view. So look, at a category level, look, we've been around since 2017. So you'll see us positioned at the category level in what's called digital workplace analytics. And the kind of summary of that is we've built an analytics platform that does analytics and insights, best of breed, for many of the world's most popular tools. Google Workspace is used by, I think, a couple of billion people every day. Slack is heavily pervasive. We're all familiar with Microsoft 365. So you can think about that almost as like product, best of breed analytics to these key workplace tools. And that's always been a great start for us. But what we've also done is we've centralized that data onto one platform. And that's very, very important because it immediately gives us this data canvas that allows us to look at maybe more lateral things across a company. Like, how does modern hybrid work happen relative to, am I working in the office, hybrid or remote? That data, that intelligence is unlikely to sit in one system, but it very well may sit across multiple systems. So we talk about single cloud, we talk about multi-cloud, and ultimately what we're doing is we're kind of centralizing that data intelligence to allow people using our platform just to make like hyper intentional, really, really good decisions based on the data that they kind of already own. And I'm just going to quickly append it as well. Like we have built the platform. We have representation across all the different kind of regions in the world. We only work with really, really good partners. And you can imagine Temporall as the platform with services that wrap around the side of that. And I think what Jenny will maybe explain a little bit in a moment is what are those solutions? that pop off the top of the platform. So look, that's our business model: digital workplace analytics, single cloud, multi-cloud, partner services wrap around that to sort of like deliver high value solutions for our customers. So hopefully that all that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Continuing then with you, Thomas, just a little bit more detail around that. How does the platform actually work?
Yeah, so I'll go down to maybe 10,000 foot now. So for those that may be a little bit more technical, but not really kind of technical, the way that these sort of workspace tools, workplace tools like Workspace, like Slack, 365 Work is, they're products. Things like Gmail or Calendar or Meet or Drive and Editors have things called APIs. And what Temporall does, you can think about us are doing cloud scale analytics, and there's kind of 4 steps. The first one is just access to the data. So look, we were born in Europe. We treat privacy, security incredibly seriously. So we only work on the API metadata. So we are not an e-discovery tool. We don't look or read any message data on email or chat. You simply cannot do that. You can't track anyone on our platform. That's something we're very, very clear from day one. So we access and we sync that data via APIs. The metadata gets kind of stored in our system. And that's the first step. Go and get all of these hundreds of millions of rows of data and make that accessible to an analytics platform. The second step is about synthesizing that data. And that's where some of our magic comes in. So we're applying machine learning techniques. We apply algorithms to that data. What pops out the bottom of that is something called derived data. And that sits in our data warehouse. And that is what customers and partners access when they kind of log into Temporall. We also, given that we've got deep background in enterprise technology, this is where you then apply in the third step your enterprise controls: full access management, permission management, privacy management, anonymity, etc. Because we want our customers to be in full control of how they manage the platform and how they access the data on our platform. And when we've done all of that, and that's really about a day and a half's work, so it's pretty quick. We've invested a lot of time and effort in engineering to make sure that the speed to insights is really, really fast, because that is how we get a quick ROI. But then that data pops into the front end, and that's where we have some of the capabilities that an analyst can view. So we have dynamic dashboards. We have something that we're very, very fond of in Temporall called network analytics. And we've also got a fully baked survey engine into the platform. What I may do, if I've got an extra couple of minutes, because you always get asked the questions, oh, that's great, but what does it actually look like? And we decided not to go for the live demo today because we all know what will happen. But yeah, just allow me maybe to spend a few minutes and just kind of slow it down to allow people to kind of catch up on what does it look like? So how do I turn that data that's kind of already got, how do I turn it into kind of like front-end visualizations and ultimately the insights? So I'm going to show you 4 slides. So I mentioned that Temporall provides single cloud analytics and multi-cloud. And this example, we have, there are hundreds of different kind of dashboards and pages and what we call cars to sit on the front end. But this is just a nice simple one to start with. And this is just an overview. So in this example, I'm looking at data from the last 30 days on our demo environment. We are using all of Google Workspace's services, and we're using Slack, and we've also thrown in a little bit of Zoom there. So this is how these tools are being actually adopted and utilized across my company in the past 30 days. This is just a very high level. We do graph view, we do table view, and honestly, about 90% of the conversations that we have with customers, they start here. This is where end user computing is right now. They don't have a degree of granularity of how these tools are actually used on a day-to-day basis. Now, without going into kind of any more of the overviews, I want to just kind of introduce something that it's kind of, it feels like table stakes, but we just happen to be really, really good at it. Because every customer we talk to says, but I want granular analytics. I want granular insights. We've built in the richest, most dynamic set of filtering on any platform available in the market. And let me kind of split this quickly into 2. You can think about filtering in sort of 2 buckets. The first one is your technical filters. Okay, I am using Slack and Google, but I've also maybe got some Microsoft 365 in a coexist somewhere. So you can choose to have all of those turned on, all of those integrations, or you may choose not to. You could choose to have Slack and Gmail and Zoom turned on or not. You can choose now to have it by domains. We've just added domain filtering as well. And then you kind of add in, okay, I want to do page level filtering. So I want to look at all of my data by country or by department or by. So just those technical filters give a tremendous amount of drill down insights. The next set is really interesting because this is where you get into what we call the primary filters. And primary filters are kind of broken into kind of subcategories of like geography. Can I look at my global data set, maybe just in the US? So it could be region, it'd be country. Or maybe it's something that's a little bit more employee-centric. It could be the age of my employees, or it could be the tenure of my employees. Or it could be something a little bit more custom, which we're going to show you in a minute, which is, can I view my global data set by where people are working? Maybe working fully in the office, hybrid or remote. So look, what I'm showing on the overviews is just this ability to go, as Jenny said, this really top-down view, this sort of 360-degree view of my data, but be able to go all the way down to, I'd like to look at how Gmail has been adopted in the last 90 days in the US in the sales team. Or I'd like to know how my engineering and product teams have been working together in the last year. Is it going up? Is it going down? So the second thing, I'm just going to rattle through these, are dashboards. So we are very, very fond of what's called the last mile of analytics. So analytics are only as good as the insights that are generated from the data. So we're very fond of kind of question-styled cards. So we have over 300 questions in the system. So what you're seeing here on the left-hand navigation is our overview. You have your dashboards. And I've gone into Google Workspace. So those that use that, there is a service called Google Meet over the last 30 days. And we've got a number of different cards and dashboards that are there to answer in real time the most formative questions around Google Meet for that company. And again, we have hundreds of these questions available completely out the box, all filterable at a highly granular level. Now onto my favorite thing, network analysis. And look, it's a great name, but what does it mean? Network analysis is a technique that allows companies to measure and to identify patterns of distributed collaboration and connection. So very quickly to explain, this is a graph view of Gmail usage in this company, which is I think 400 or 500 users on our demo. The nodes, which are the circles, are people, and it's color-coded by country. So this, in this example, is how is Gmail being used in these various countries over the last 30 days at a visual representation. That's good, but I want to get dynamic metrics served to me on the fly. And that is what you can see on the right-hand side. So we're sort of pioneering this work around network analysis from live real-time systems like Gmail, like Microsoft 365 Outlook, like Slack, like Calendar. And this is completely filterable at a highly granular level. This is, hopefully you can see it, is probably one of the hottest visualizations we've got at the moment, which is, can you help me, Temporall, understand, does work happen differently or not if my teams are working in the office, if they're working hybrid, or if they're working remotely? And what we can say, because we have the data, is the answer is yes. So network analysis is a wonderful technique to use. And the third thing I'll say is, we're a very big believer of not leaving people behind. So quantitative application data is great, but we talk about what people do, quantitative data, and what people say, which is the survey data. We have a full survey engine that customers and partners can serve. In this example, I just put Workspace Duet. We may want to do a survey to our end users about like, how are you using that service? What's the value that's been created for you? And this combination of quantitative data and qualitative data, global data sets, filterable, gives this tremendous 360-degree view all the way down. And I'm going to just say one more slide. And this is IDC's representation of what we do. And I think it just kind of really talks to kind of what we care about. We're here to help companies become more data-centric. to actually use and leverage the data that they've already got. We've got an intelligent core, which they talk about, which is wonderful. But ultimately, it's really about the interpretation of existing data and turning that into high value insights is what we care about. So anyway, look, a little bit about the top level, some of the detail, and then the visualization and how we turn that is something that we've been building now since 2017. So hopefully, Jonathan, that gives you a bit of a flavour of what we do.
Yeah, it really does. Thank you. It's nice to see those screen grabs, and I've been lucky enough to have explored it on our domain and see what CTS are doing when we're collaborating. And I think that network analysis is absolutely fantastic to see where work gets done, when work gets done, how work gets done, and then linking that to our core values. We've got some values around how we work, and we want to make sure that as a company we actually are standing by them, and this data certainly helps that link with that. So Jenny, I know other customers are also talking to us about how they can use this data. We're experts in Google Workspace, and obviously a trusted partner to all of our customers. What other 3 use cases have you got that CTS can sort of help our customers?
Yeah, thanks for that. Yeah, I'll say I absolutely love that network analysis piece as well. So it's a great use case for ourselves too. So Thomas talks about the magic of what they can bring. And I think for us, it's about bringing the magic of our expertise into play. And it's about the services and the solutions to help meet business objectives through the detail and building programs of work with our customers. So the key word for us is being proactive in partnership with our customers. So with that in mind, we've got a couple of use cases on the go at the moment. One of them, we are running a managed trial where we're taking the organization's objective of understanding how their business units are interacting. That's one of the big questions they were looking for. So with that, we're also looking at adoption rate. We're looking at comparing utilization of the different tools by business unit. But what we're ultimately trying to do is take that data and supercharge what the centralized global IT unit can actually do for their customers within the organization. And it's a global organization. And that in turn, with CTS, allows us to have a conversation with them in their QBRs, quarterly business reviews, on a monthly and on-demand reporting basis as well. And we're looking to kind of measure and benchmark around sort of the distribution of how they all collaborate across the business units. And then that network analysis in this use case as well is super interesting, because what we're looking at is to try and find out how can we benefit from those champions that we identify, those workspace champions, and help the organization use those champions to then further increase adoption across the organization. Second use case is, and Thomas touched on this, around, okay, this organization has a hybrid and flexible working policy, but they also have frontline workers, and they have a centralized HQ demographic that are now working more flexibly. And what they need to prove is this working? Is it how they intended it to work? Are the productivity levels what they were expecting by business unit, team, location, and who and how those insights be gained? How can the HR team use those insights, or even gain those insights, from the IT team, and then use those to talk to the business and report more widely? One of the things they're also doing is trying to reduce their spend on shadow IT. So for us, we have programs of work services, we have Slack attack training, we have Zoom away training, we have things like that that help end users learn that, I can do so much just in the workspace platform. And then the last one, again, Thomas mentioned this, and it's a really interesting concept in real estate. Smart buildings. Are we using our meeting rooms? Are people turning up? But also more than that, when they have in their meetings, who's attending, are they attending, what is the room usage, so they can make informed decisions around meat hardware, for example. And again, there's an cost efficiency piece in play there. So that's the third case that we have.
Fantastic. I think just to add to that from what I've seen as well, Jenny, that customers often come to us with one particular use case in mind. They start using the temporal analytics and quickly realize that it might actually help them solve other problems that they maybe weren't aware of at the time. That you start talking to other teams as well. You initially start talking with IT, and then suddenly HR are interested because it might solve a particular problem they're looking at. And then you start looking at leadership teams, the finance, and all of a sudden you've got various different stakeholders very interested in the different use cases that the data can help them visualize and determine a course of action from. So brilliant to hear.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just going to say, this is exactly what Thomas and I found most challenging. When we first met 6-8 months ago, there was so much to talk about in terms of the use cases. So yeah, you could go on. There's a number.
Well, let's do that then. Thomas, tell us some of the good news stories that you've got from some of your recent customers you've been working with.
Yeah, Jenny just made a really good point. One of the things that we set out to do was to not build a product company. And people say, oh, product market fit. We made it really hard for ourselves. It was like platform market fit, because we felt very firmly that the world is so transient. Workplace tools have become so pervasive, and there's consumerization, and that we wanted to build a platform for one simple reason. We felt that we could help customers unlock value in perpetuity, always on, and help them solve for many of the challenges that they don't know about yet, because there is just this huge amount of data that can be accessed to help them with that. So that's kind of the first thing. And maybe just kind of two or three examples from kind of my side. And the first one is just like, and anyone who, the total cost of ownership play here is just like really straightforward. So we've got a customer in the US that are looking to rationalize, right? And they had been using Zoom more extensively during COVID. Google Meet's pretty good now, right? And it was a straight, like, are we seeing good adoption? What's the level of kind of parity? And they made a decision to basically deprovision one over the other one. And that's a big saving. I mean, that's hundreds of thousands of dollars of saving of TCO. And you know what? We love starting there, because it's kind of like a nice hard ROI. You can identify exactly where you're gonna get that saving. So that's kind of one example. We're seeing a lot of these, by the way, just starting with TCO, starting with kind of cost. The second one, I'll give you an example. Global organization, about 20,000 employees, multiple tools, started with exactly the same thing. Their hypothesis, which is correct, was they were running both of these tools in a highly unoptimized fashion. So where are we? Like, let's just do a benchmark. Let's kind of plug in the platform, tell them this is where it's used well. These are your levels of adoption. This is your utilization. Here are pockets maybe of disconnection for tooling, just to help them with a more end user focused training enablement, get people using the tool more effectively, because it just drives up this kind of more efficient work. It's kind of where we started. But you know what's interesting is, like, these things lead to like other areas, other avenues straight away. So Jenny mentioned like reporting, like normal tool reporting for QBRs monthly or ad hoc is awful for many of these tools. So that was an area of focus. Like, okay, so how do you report? What is your governance within IT and reporting into the wider business, who can helping them as well? Collaboration. Where is collaboration effectively done across your global organization? Where are there levels of disconnection? And again, this is a multi-cloud workplace environment. So what we're looking at now is a 12 to 18 month roadmap of value creation that is bringing very, very significant 7-figure returns from data they already own, they've already paid for. They just haven't accessed it. So we're not a rip and replace. We're wonderfully interoperable with existing tools, and you can plug the platform in and get it working within a matter of days. The third one right now, so in preparation for this session, I spent an hour talking to one of our customers on Friday afternoon. It's an IT director. It's a FTSE 100 company. I'm not going to name the tools that they use. I would be killed if This was unanonymized, and we get on extremely well. But just kind of take you through the journey of where they've been, what are they doing now, and where they're heading. First up, guess what? It's benchmarking how they're using their tools. It's like the adoption, it's like the utilization. Again, multiple cloud. They want to know, like, which tools do people love using and which ones may be trending up or down. It includes some more modern asynchronous toolings and some less modern asynchronous unified communication tools. So just this wonderful opportunity to understand, like, where do people head to do their best work. A really, really interesting use case was based around their working policy. So they have introduced a working policy of ideally moving people into a more office-centric environment, okay, which is definitely theme du jour right now from a lot of CEOs. But what they asked us to do was to identify whether remote workers had a higher or lesser degree of connection to other workers. I can't give you the exact percentages because we're not allowed, but what I can say, and this is amongst a number of different customers, that it would appear that connection levels amongst remote workers does go down relative to the overall network. Now that brings challenges because those employees, those users, can become slightly less disconnected. What was interesting is that the intensity and the density of connection with the teams around them actually increased at the same time. And it just brings this like highly informed, you hear people say, oh, we should do this, and I got a hunch. But we really believe that data and experience brings judgment. And what we've got is a platform that can really help people do that. And the last question I asked this guy on Friday is, like, what's next? And right now they're working on a project. So because they've moved people back into the office and they are asking people, they've also spent some money on their offices, actually capital expense on making these offices more collaborative. And what they're doing now is measuring, do the offices relate and correlate to people coming into the office more? And are the tools being used when in the office being used in a more effective and efficient way? It's all linked. So going from tooling, looking at capital investments in my office space, can I correlate anything about how work happens if I spend money on these conference rooms? And then the last thing, which is they're building to right now, is pulling this all together to make a series of very big decisions on real estate. So they have a number of head offices, and they're going to be making some decisions in the next 12 to 18 months whether to continue with those or not. Those decisions are in the hundreds of millions. Data from our platform is being used now and is going to be used to make very big strategic decisions. And that's kind of one of the things we get out of bed for, is to help companies at the 360-degree view, to go all the way down at a ground level, but to help them make more informed decisions. And these decisions on real estate are stakeholder and shareholder value. They're at that level. So look, hopefully, Jonathan, there's just a few examples of some of the work that we're doing right now. And we see this thematic right now running for a decade. So we think the opportunity for our customers to unlock value, for our partners, and for us to help customers do that, frankly, is just enormous.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that earlier on we mentioned the sort of so what. So what the data we've got, so what, we've got some numbers, so what, and it's that information that you can sort of glean and get that out and go, well, the what is this, and it's going to be either cost saving, increased productivity, increased connection, increased employee engagement and happiness and retention. There's always going to be a nice so what, and so currently in a lot of the tooling that we've got, we just don't see that, do we? So we've seen where you came from, Thomas. We've seen where you are now with Temporall. I suppose the next question is, what's next for Temporall? We can't have a tech talk without mentioning AI. I think maybe I briefly did it in the first introduction there, but I've got a feeling that looking at some of the dashboards that you've got there, they could be very useful when deciding which users should take on some of these AI features that are paid for, that Google and Microsoft and other third parties are producing, Duet AI being one of them. So what's next? Is AI in your roadmap?
Oh, look, just to be clear, we've been using AI in our platform since 2018. So we don't feel that we're jumping on a bandwagon. I'm also a huge believer around AI that it needs to be participatory. You have to go meet people where they are. I think at an industry level, I don't think anyone would disagree that we're in an AI hype cycle, right? It's being sales-led and it's being feature-led. What we need is to kind of start thinking about, so how do you prove the actual business benefits of some of these generative tooling? And I'm talking not just about AI, but generative tools, because that's where enabled AI kind of starts for most companies. It's turning on features and capabilities that can provide value for users within their companies already. So there's no real sort of jump that an end user really needs to understand. They need a bit of training, a bit of enablement. But we are seeing that conversation, Jonathan, a little bit too sales and feature-led right now. I'll give you a couple of, so and we're all familiar with this, right? Trusted tester programs have been around for about 20 years, right? And they haven't changed. It's, why don't you try the tools, try the features for 30 days or 60 days, and maybe 50 people or 100 people. So if anyone here is using like GenAI for Workspace or Microsoft 365 Copilot, these TT programs are quite pro forma, they're quite structured. And you put it to users, and then you send a survey after 60 days and say, so how was it? What's the benefits that you got? This does not cut it, right? So we're seeing that organizations that are doing this at a programmatic level more effectively are basically just sort of like widening the scope a little bit. So get really intentional. So maybe a few more licenses may be good. Maybe do it for slightly longer. Maybe plug quantitative data. So like, where are you? How can you claim that these tools are going to bring benefit when you've got nothing to compare it to? And we're seeing current low conversion rates of generative tooling. And I think for this to go up, you're going to have to see technology companies focus more on the ROI of AI, as opposed to trying to sort of like sell the flash of the capabilities. Final thing I'll say, and I was very fortunate to present at Google Cloud on a panel a couple of weeks ago, and I talked about this. If Google Cloud, if AWS and Microsoft closed every single software engineer R&D project on AI down tomorrow, there is so much capability already in the market. It's going to take the rest of industry 10 or 20 years to catch up. Because number one, there is definitely a skills and a talent gap for people who know what to do and what to do with it. And again, that is a massive role for partners, which is what we're advocating for. You simply cannot bring this in-house quick enough. The war on talent is real. It's really real on AI. The other thing, which I believe in even more, is that there's actually just a massive education gap. Just listening last week to the customers, to the analysts, and to just kind of business and technology leaders, there is a lot to consume. There's a lot to understand. I love, if anyone listens to kind of Bloomberg Technology, I have made myself retrain to really bias my attention and time to understanding about AI and applied AI. And I think it's incumbent on all of us as leaders to really become highly educated, but then to really disperse that into teams. And I believe for all of us at an industry level to benefit from AI, we're all going to have to lean in properly to educate our businesses about what it is, what is the value, why we should and shouldn't do certain things. And if we do all of that, I think it could be a tool for a high degree of opportunity and optimism. So I'm a big AI optimist, but I think the education element of that has been vastly underestimated. But what an opportunity.
Yeah, I'm sorry, John, I just jumped in. Absolutely, just the excitement levels are huge. But it's that word you said, the intention and the meaningfulness of any kind of trial or trusted tester. And that's exactly what we're finding with our customers who are coming to us and say, well, okay, yeah, we want to do this. We're going to get the licenses for AI. Okay, let's do it together. Exactly the way you laid out. And with that, we're lucky to have some amazing Google expertise in our ranks, and having that educational element is what's making the difference. Our Martin Hoxie is in our team, and he's just so focused on getting the most out of his interactions with customers, because he can educate as we go. So yeah, I'm very excited about that too.
Good.
As we all are, yeah. So I think, judging by the conversation that we just had there, we could probably talk for a lot longer about all of these topics. I know CTS have got another event coming up, Jenny. Can we assume that AI and Temporall will be firmly on the agenda?
Yes, we have Thomas joining us at it's our annual flagship event. It's called Grow. As it says on the screen there, it's interactive. We have business leaders there who are sharing their thoughts and experiences, as well as some CTS experts. And we've invited some people on, including Thomas, to just really boost that excitement around what's happening around these topics on the screen there. And guess what? We just talked about them all today with the theme of data. So yeah, amazing speakers. And it would be great to have folks come along and join us.
Fantastic. Thanks for that, Jenny. And thanks for that, Thomas. The recording will follow. We'll make sure we send that out. So you'll have our contact details as well. You'll be able to pop us an email if you do have any further questions around Temporall, either for Thomas or for Jenny or any of the other CTS team. So I'd like to thank you once again for your time. I know it's very valuable. And Temporall will probably tell us how valuable our time is at the moment, but thank you for that. Thank you everyone for joining. And once again, if you do have any questions, feel free to get in touch.
Thank you, folks. Bye for now.
That's great. Thanks, everybody.